You
I
know,
think there's two different, I think we're talking about two different things. There is, in my mind, there is systemic racism, which
that's what.
is borne out in the police thing you just saw and Tamir Rice and all the killings of Black folks. And then the other isms where, you know, even if we were all one color, the country is going to be more tan, quite frankly. There will always be issues. I'm one of seven. And I just remember growing up, my sister and I, one sister and I, we'd be arguing and then we make up. And then my other sister, we'd be forming okay, let's just gangs within not but we're siblings, right? So I'm just saying, I think there's always going to be some issue, even if everyone were of the same ilk. But you have systemic racism is the cancer that runs through the world, basically, right now.
So I like that's powerful, Felicia. I like what you said. You're saying that if we all were just one color, let's just suspend that belief for a minute, 1 minute. We were all one color on the planet. You're still saying we will still have issues, correct?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely. You can look at countries where they're just, one color and they still have issues because that's the nature of man, right? You're always
Mhm.
going to have, like, I don't like this woman. She's slimmer than me. She looks nice. You're always going to have like these little peccadillo issues, right? But, and you won't be able to, it's not color. It's not going to be a color base. It's going to be like blue eyes or green eyes or straight hair. Even if everybody's the same color, you're going to have an issue. But the monster that everybody's dealing with is systemic racism because it's such a contrast, right? There are definite white people and there are definite Black people, except the white people, Blacks that can pass that you don't, white folks can't tell if a Black person is Black or not. Most Black people can tell you if a person that looks white is Black or not. We know who can pass and who can't. Most white people can't make that determination, but most Black people can. So right now it's just that extreme difference of somebody's skin color. And that's what happened in the 1800s, right?
Right.
They were able to, you're a slave, you're Black, you're not a slave, you're white. But the fascinating thing, after slavery ended in 1865, and I enjoy history. There's a book called White Trash by Nancy Eisenberg. It's an excellent book. And she talks about how after slavery ended, the poor whites who could not own slaves, they couldn't afford slaves. They were poor, dirt poor, no shoes, disease, lice. And after slavery ended, the former slaves were poor also. And these two communities, they got together because they saw that they could help each other.
Right.
So they were intermingling and they started intermarrying and all that kind of stuff because they were all poor together, helping each other. And the white planter class saw that as a threat, right? They saw that as a threat. Well, wait a minute, you got these people can rally against us, and that's when all of those Black codes first started, right? That's okay. White folks can't marry Black folks. That's really when it started, and Black codes that turned into Jim Crow and blah 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 and on and on and on. So that's really where it started. So I think like education really is the key.
Well, and thank you for that, Felicia. Look, talking to a Howard grad, I was discriminated at Howard. White professor told me to get out. I said in my last discussion, I reserve a room. He took the room from me. He made a derogatory comment to me in his class. The class laughed. I left. I was like, okay. Complained to the staff, the dean, and they were like, hey, that's just how he is. He's from New York. You gotta, just ignore him. So what I'm saying to you is I agree with you. But the one thing, and I want to go back to your first comment is, what you said earlier about if we were all one color. Yes, you're right. We will still have issues and bickering and disagreements, but there's something about that systemic racism.
Right.
There's something about that. And it's not even something. It is about the history that we know. I would say this in my board meeting, and my CEO, Ron, and him and I will go at it. You say, Star Fury, I don't want you to say that in the meeting. I was like, no, I'm gonna say that's my belief. I would say racism is a DNA. And he was like, no, it's taught. I said, you could prove me all you want about it being taught or got into, whatever. I have a belief that it's DNA related. Why? Because again, before I was born, before I came on this earth, I've been walking this earth for 47 years. And you mean to tell me we haven't figured this out yet? Nah.
Racism is not genetically related. It's a learned behavior. It's a learned behavior.
Felicia, let me establish, let me say what I say in the meeting. You weren't born a racist. You're right. You were taught a racist. The DNA is in the system that we live and eat and breathe.
Correct. I mean, it's in TV. It's in the magazines. It's in the commercials. It's once you know, and folks, number one, folks got to start reading, period. You got to start reading. You don't need the news to tell you stuff. You can read. It's all in print, black and white. And a lot of folks just don't know their history. They're not into reading. They're lazy. But that's the power. And once you understand where it kind of comes from, you see that these people, I mean, in order for these police officers to be over these girls on the ground, they had to be completely disconnected. I don't care how they're trained. They go home to a family. They have a mother, they have a father, they have kids, they have siblings, they have nieces and nephews, right? So they've completely disconnected, and you can disconnect and say, okay, well, it's because this is the way that I was trained, and call it whatever. But they walk out of the door knowing that they are protected. Mm-hmm. And that is the problem. Not all police officers, some actually, you know, they're not trained just yet. But, you know, then that goes into the history of the police. They want a certain type of person. Like, they don't really want nice people, right? They want a certain type of person.
Right. Right.
I just want to ask, Star Fury, can you give us a definition of systemic racism?
Sure. You want me to pull it up right now? I can pull it up right now.
Yeah, pull it up.
You don't need a Webster dictionary.
I want to see what Webster's is saying.
Ah, got it.
Okay, not a problem. Yeah, I love the engagement because look, I say this over and over and over. This is a no-brainer. If you want to end this, if you really want to end this, all you got to do is follow the steps. One, I believe in reparations. I do believe in it.
Oh, because 100%.
We live in a capitalist society. And if I could walk on a Native American tribal land, or I can't even walk on it, I have to ask permission. And you mean to tell me that they have you know, they get the rewards for what happened to them, then why is it that it's a fight for people who were born here to get it? Hold on, here it is right here. Okay, here we go. All right.
It's the culture of America, in short definition. That's what systemic racism is. Every facet of American culture.
All right, I'm sharing my screen. Here you go. So institutional, can y'all see it?
Yes.
Okay. Institutional racism, also known as systemic racism, is a form of racism that is embedded as normal practice within society or an organization. It can lead to such issues as discrimination in criminal justice, employment, housing, healthcare, political power, and education, among other issues. So there you go. So to heal.
Francis Cress Welsing does a little better than that.
Well, I mean, we just given a broad, we know what it is.
Yeah.
We know what it is. So to heal from that, right? Reparations, nothing I came up with. There, you could look it up. There's a reparations movement with ADOS, reforming the police and the military culture, helping people from the, like, when you see something going on, if you're out and about and you see something, for example, I'm gonna use myself again. In 2014, I was at a Chase Bank in Santa Ana, California. I went in, I've been standing in line for about 35 minutes. I was the only Black person in the bank. I got to the front of the line when the guy waved at me and shut his door. He shut his window. And so with that, I asked the manager, I said, look, I said, look, the guy don't have to be racist. I mean, you saw me standing here. I know, all I'm trying to do is cash his check. And before she could respond, a white lady who heard me screamed out to the whole bank, racism, what do you mean about racism? There is no racism. We have Obama. And
yeah, I've heard that.
I asked her, I said, and I'm gonna end it. I asked her, I said, so racism ended because of Obama. I said, have you at any time in your life been Black? And she couldn't answer. Go ahead, Stephanie.
No, I was just saying, of course not. But if we look at this, wait, bring that back up.
Oh, okay. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. The reason why I said this is because, okay, so we're looking at this definition, okay? Then we look at the definition of the human condition. Mm-hmm. And I just pulled it up and it says, is the human condition is all of the characteristics and key events that compose the essentials of human existence, including birth, growth, emotions, aspirations, conflicts, and mortality. Okay, if you look at it, the systemic racism, look at it closely, it involves every institution known to the human being. If we are to heal, we have to address these institutions. That is the bottom line. And there is I can't think of the name of the book, but it's talking about the spiritual wickedness in high places. Mm-hmm. These are all high places. Mm-hmm. Every last one of them. And we have to start in these areas to address the issues that are going on in these individual institutions.